Happy almost Halloween, everybody. I'm OCDisaster, and in this video, I'm going to be ranking from worst to best the horror movies that I have seen in 2024. Obviously, this is going to exclude some horror movies that I haven't seen, but I am curious to see what your list looks like down in the comments below. I've already done a list of my favorite Halloween levels in video games, so you can check that video out after this one. Yeah, Coda, it's okay. He's not going to get you. You're fine. Coda, you're okay. This was gonna be a whole thing. I was gonna have it move around in different shots, but I don't think Coda likes it at all. The worst horror movie that I've seen in 2024 is Afraid, and I think the funniest part about this movie was the commercials before it. I was sitting there in the theater, and it was a commercial for Gemini AI, Meta AI, and then a third AI. And then we got into the movie, and Afraid is about AI and how it's taking over this house and this family. And it's supposed to be a horror movie, but it really seems like it was another thing. And then they couldn't find anyone to like produce it. I'm making this up. I don't know if this is actually true. And so they went to Blumhouse, which is, you know, known for low budget horror and a lot of it schlock. Some of them are hits, a lot of them are misses, but they churn out so much profit. And they were just like, let's just turn it into horror. Yeah, it's at the bottom of the list. It's absolutely dog shit. It's funny for all the wrong reasons, because you sit there and these characters, the actors are trying their best. I'll give it that much. The actors are trying really, really hard. And the person that voices the AI, she also stars in it for a little bit. I can't remember her name right now, but she was in Bottoms, and she's like the most gorgeous woman ever. Anyway, besides the point, they tried their best, but the material's really bad. And you have these characters just randomly start breaking out into these like little tangents and rants about society and adapting to AI. And it just seems like some boomer was sitting there on their like laptop and just had to get their thoughts out about AI, and then threw that into ChatGPT to generate a script for this movie, because it is so bad and absurd, and these like rants come out of nowhere. It's absolutely crazy, and it's just very like fisting, and just like fisting. It's very just like AI, no, but it's not scary. There's 2 jump scares, and both of them are not even like deserved. They're not clever. They're just cheap and in there just to call it horror. There's a really funny CGI scene that they give away a lot in the trailer. A guy dies in a car crash, and it's the most CG looking thing ever. It's hysterical. They try to do a twist M. Night Shyamalan style at the end. It does not land at all. This movie is bad, and not even in a fun way. I tried to have fun with it, but it just missed the mark. And I knew I was in for a treat when they started rolling the credits, to the opening credits, I should say, and it was all generated AI art. Yeah, this movie's bad. It's supposed to be telling this story or this warning sign about AI and like where we're going in the future, but it doesn't tell it well at all. And then it also adds this horror element to it, and it falls flat on its face as well. It's a bad movie. It's a skip. So I have a confession. I've never seen The Omen, and I think by me not seeing it, it made me enjoy or at least appreciate the first Omen a little bit more, but it's still the second to last in my 2024 horror movie lineup. The first Omen is a prequel to The Omen, which is now a franchise, but from what I've heard, it's really just that very first movie, Omen, that was really good, and then it just kind of went downhill from there. Regardless, they bring back some of the cast from the original movie. They de-aged them a little bit to keep this narrative structure, to kind of keep it as a cinematic universe if they want to expand it later, I guess. But that's not really important to me. How was the movie? Boring? You're possessed by a demon. Did you guys hear that? I think Coda's possessed. Are you possessed right now? I like the premise of the first Omen, but it pretty much stops there. The execution is pretty lame, and it's not a scary movie. There's some shocking scenes and elements in it, and there's one effective jump scare, but besides that, it's a really slow burn, and the premise, like I said, is the only thing that's very interesting. Essentially, there's 2 churches. The real church that's actually trying to to spread Christianity, and then there's the evil church that's trying to resurrect the Antichrist, so that way more people follow Christianity. Because like the whole set piece is like in the early like 70s, I think, in Italy, and a lot of people are like moving away from Catholicism and the church, and they're just kind of being agnostic or atheist. And so the church, the evil church, so to speak, has this ingenious idea to birth the Antichrist, and then they'll all come back to the church. I actually like that concept a lot, but yeah, light spoilers, but if you haven't seen the movie yet, I mean, it's been out for a while now, and like I said, it's not that great. There's like a beast, it's in the Bible, like 666, number of the beast, and it's like this demon, like goat looking thing, a jackal actually. Yeah, it violates a nun. It has to violate like a pure soul in order to birth the Antichrist. So like the church like kidnaps her and like ties her down, and it's really disturbing to watch. And then she gives birth to the Antichrist, which happens to be Damien in the first Omen movie. Yeah, it's something. You'll see like a demon hand crawl out of someone's vagina. It's stuff like that that shocks you, but it's not that great of a movie. It's just that concept once again that I really liked. The team behind Ready or Not and the two of the three Scream reboots, Radio Silence, did a movie called Abigail, and I kind of have mixed feelings about this one. I think they had a big challenge on their hands because the concept of the movie is very unique, but you can't market it without giving away that like twist. So the trailer shows you right up the concept of the movie. Basically, this group of people get hired to kidnap a rich person's daughter and keep her hostage in a mansion overnight. They have 24 hours and then the job is done. They all get paid. They don't have to hurt the girl or anything like that. The thing is, the girl happens to be a vampire and she's going to feast on their blood throughout the night. And they show you that in the trailers because how are you supposed to market that? And that's kind of like the big reveal. But since they already gave that away, I think they decided they needed to have more twists within the movie. And the movie ends like 3 different times to the point where I was actually rolling my eyes in the theater. It's funny. It's got some gory kills and it's an overall fun experience, but when it comes to an actual horror movie, it misses the mark. It just ends way too many times. The actors do a great performance. They all have interesting characters. They all have their tiny little arcs within the movie, but it just kind of missed the mark when it comes to horror and being an overall good movie. The middle horror movie on my list from worst to best in 2024 is Alien Romulus. Like the first Omen, I have not seen the first Alien movie or the second one, which I believe are the only 2 good ones from what I've heard around the space. I really need to get on it, but I heard the people that actually like those movies really hated this one because they just kind of like pulled and copied a lot from those movies, and it wasn't like a homage, it was really just like a ripoff. But I went in completely blind. I went in without knowing any of the alien lore except what the creatures look like. I mean, come on. You know what xenomorphs look like at this point. And the movie was okay. I think that it overstays its welcome. It's a little bit too long. I really like the atmosphere. They did a really good job of when you're on this like planet of people that are like mining for resources. It looks really crappy and otherworldly because you're off Earth, and it's a really good world building tool. And then when they take the spaceship up in the space, when you're in this abandoned ship, it looks cool, it looks awesome. But besides the two lead actors, the actor who plays the android needs to get an award for his performance because it was absolutely amazing. The material, iffy, but he just knocked it out of the park. Yeah, this movie starts off really, really good, and then it gets to like the middle point, and then it just slugs and goes really, really downhill. It's not really scary. It's more on the action side. The face huggers, there's a lot of them. They're more of a threat than even the xenomorph is. And the side characters, the fodder that get eaten up, they're hard to understand. I'm not trying to be that guy, but I really wish they put subtitles on the screen because their accents are really tough to get through. The 2 leads you could understand, but the other people, it was a little bit more difficult for my American ears to understand. But yeah, it's right there in the middle. I don't think it's a terrible movie, but I also think it has a lot of flaws. I heard if you liked the Alien movies, Alien Romulus isn't really a good one. It's just mid. But I went in without knowing anything, and I came out saying, okay. Speaking of a movie, the one I'm about to mention right now is probably going to have a lot of people upset, but Terrifier 3 is not my top movie of 2024. It definitely has moments, and it's really the biggest Terrifier yet. For some context, I thought Terrifier 1 was okay. I didn't even finish Terrifier 2. I didn't see it in theaters. It was already out by the time I was looking at it. I couldn't get through it. It was so boring, and the dialogue was so bad, and the characters, I just was not interested in them or invested at all. And then Terrifier 3, because I saw it in theaters, I think it helped a lot. There's just something about Terrifier. Art the Clown and the actor that plays Art the Clown does such a fantastic job that makes you feel so fucked up in the head because you're seeing this sadist, this evil being massacre people in the most horrific, disturbing ways imaginable. If you thought Saw was disturbing, Art the Clown just like goes far beyond in the absurdity, the just degradingness, the foul and grotesqueness of his kills. But there's something about it that's just so entertaining. You're like covering your eyes, but then like peeking through a little bit because the character is so funny. Because he doesn't say anything. He's not like Freddy Krueger that has one-liners and stuff like that. And then it doesn't take itself too seriously where it's like Michael Myers or Jason Voorhees that are just menacing presence. It's kind of like a mix of both where he's playing around, he's having fun with his kills, and you kind of enjoy it in a sick and twisted way. Sure, you want the protagonist to win, but they don't really give enough. The actors try their best with the material they're given, but I really don't like the story that they tried to do with it. It's basically Art going around killing people, and then you pan over to the B story, which is technically the A story of these humans, and there's good versus evil, and there's chosen ones and evil ones, and it just doesn't work. There's a scene in Terrifier 3 where Art the Clown goes and sees Santa Claus, and it's a long scene in the bar. It goes on for like 15-20 minutes, and it's the best scene in the entire movie because it's funny. It has a lot of character development for, well, not even character development, it just has character moments for Art the Clown, but then it ends in a brutal kill, and it's just so fun. It makes me wish that that's what these Terrifier movies were. I don't care about the good versus evil magic sword that can slay Art the Clown. I would rather just see a story being told while you're just following Art around murdering people. It's twisted, it's sick, but like they proved through that scene in the bar with Santa Claus that you could do something where it's just Art is stumbling around town, falling in, seeing people, the people are being assholes, and then he kills them. It would be beautiful, it would be delicious, it would be disturbing, but no, we also have to deal with this side plot that they want to be the main plot, and it bogs it down. I'm not saying it's a terrible movie, I just think it's a missed opportunity. Cuckoo isn't much of a horror movie as it is a suspenseful thriller, but it does a really good job, and it doesn't rely all on jump scares. It's kind of like untwisting your mind as you go through it, and I don't want to give too much away because I actually do want you to go see this movie. It's not too much if you're kind of like a scaredy cat when it comes to horror movies, but it's enough to get you a little bit antsy. It's just a really well shot, well made movie. The actors did a really good job, and I just recommend you seeing it. Number 2, I personally really enjoyed it. It's Nicolas Cage and Longlegs. They kind of take this concept of Silence of the Lambs but make it more supernatural is the best way to put it. And the character's creepy. The way they make Nicolas Cage look is creepy. It's a lower budget film, but they're very stylized with how they film it. You're on your edge of your seat the entire time. You don't know what's going to happen. There's like in the first shot of the movie, or at least the first few minutes of the movie, it blows you back about where they're going in the direction. I'm not a huge fan on how it ends, but it's not enough for me to say that this is a bad movie. I think it's definitely one worth watching, and it is my number 2 best horror movie of 2024. So what's the best horror movie of 2024? For me, it's Smile 2. Smile 2 was such a fun movie to experience in the theater, and then on top of that, it was a fun horror movie to experience in the theater. Smile 1, I thought was really good. I liked the concept. The trailers were really bad and it looked really stupid, but then word of mouth got out, reviews were good. I checked it out. I was like, okay, this is great. I think Smile 2 is better than Smile 1. There's similarities in the sense that it takes place in the same universe. You follow the same rules. There's the Smile entity. But besides that, everything else is brand new. We had a horror movie earlier this year that I didn't even bother checking out because I heard how bad it was, being Trap, which I thought was a cool concept when I saw the trailer. And it's an M. Night Shyamalan movie where a serial killer is trapped within a concert that he took his daughter to, and he has to find a way to get out. And apparently it just kind of goes crazy at the end. I thought that concept was cool. Smile 2 does that concept. I can't say it does it better because I haven't seen Trap, but from what it seems like they did it better. Naomi Scott needs to get an award for this. She crushed it. She went way too hard in the paint for a movie like this. I mean, I'm not saying like it's a horror movie so you shouldn't act well in it, but like she gave her all and it was splendid. Of course she can sing, of course she can dance, but then she adds her acting chops into it, a tragic backstory that you unwind throughout the whole experience. It's unnerving, it's chilling. Yes, there's jump scares, some of them that are really cheap, but some that are really smart, but it keeps you on your toes, it keeps you wanting more, and I just hope they do a third, which I didn't think I was going to say, but Smile 2 absolutely knocked it out of the park. If you haven't seen it yet, I recommend it. If you haven't seen Smile 1, I recommend you see that first and then Smile 2. And I would love to know what you think down in the comments about Smile 2 or any of these videos that are on my list. Did you see them? Are there any that I missed? I know there's a lot of horror movies that came out. I didn't see Winnie Pooh Bear, Blood and Honey 2, whatever it was called. I didn't see Speak No Evil. I didn't see Trapped. So there were some that I missed. So you can let me know down in the comments your recommendations for 2024 horror movies. I'm OC Disaster, and I hope you have a spooky rest of your Halloween season. It's almost over.